Welcome to bLU Talks.
I thought you.
All right, well, we really are on day 4 of Flip Your Script bLU Talks experience. So welcome. We're actually already mid-conversation with Lisa Stamper, who is a transformational life coach. Is that intuitive transformational life coach?
Yeah.
And Lisa's just telling us a little bit about herself. I thought we were live, so we had a whole 5 to 7 minutes of chit chat, but I'm sure it'll come up again at some point, during these next 3 hours. So sorry for the interruption, Lisa, but I just saw the live thing. I'm like, all of that wasn't even live.
I was like, what is that? All good. Perfect. He's not feeling the best. He's still numb from the dentist, remember?
Did you have that stuff that makes you a little loopy?
No, just a big needle put into my mouth on both sides.
Okay.
All good.
Would it have been better if I said that then, Elise?
Maybe, but it's okay. Now it's all about we're good.
Yay. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so pleased to be here. So like you said, I'm an intuitive life and business success coach. I also am a medium, which I've been able to do since I was a kiddo. I didn't really know what it was and it kind of freaked me out, but
I'm sure.
I fully embrace it now. So I'm an international speaker and a 2-time best-selling author with our little Business Life in the Universe book that we did. I'm in volume 4, and then I'm in another book as well called Woke. I'm an online course creator and educator and founder of the Soul Aligned Success Strategy, which essentially teaches people how to live a rich, thriving life, all from soul. So we're talking like money from soul, business from soul, relationships from soul, health from soul, and it's completely awesome. I absolutely
it's soultastic.
Yeah, it's soultastic. I love that. That's fantastic. Love it.
Yes, I love the soultastic. We'll chat at the end or later on about the whole soultastic thing. I do love that.
Love it so much. So I beat the odds. Like I definitely beat the odds. I'm a definitely tragedy to triumph story. I went through a ton of stuff in my life. I'm a survivor of all kinds of abuse and alcohol and marijuana dependency and abandonment stuff that I came through, and my father being killed in a car accident. So, but
what age were you when he transitioned?
It was actually only 3 years ago. So okay. I was 38, but I was able to talk to him right away because I'm so connected. I knew, but it was still horrific. And and this is part of why I'm so passionate about soul and about being in alignment with our higher power or a higher order, because it can really set the foundation to be able to navigate life, that no matter what comes up, you have a solid foundation that you're able to go from. Because if I didn't have that, I can't say that I'd definitely not be here today.
Well, we would have to chat with you there.
Yeah.
With your dad. You'd be hanging out with your dad right now.
Yeah.
I don't mean to make light of it, but I have
and
I'm sure you can relate, like the perspective for me of transitioning, I call it a transition, is that we're just free of all of this stuff that we get caught up in.
And I got to tell you something that's so wild, because I get downloads all the time. And that was the one thing, that's why I felt really connected to you when I listened to you speak before, Elise, because I was like, oh my God, she gets it. She's real deal. She's authentic. So I really align with that stuff. And
my hair just went up in the back of my neck.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So, but one of the things that Spirit has been teaching people right now is to take the word death and transition it to transition. And it's so fascinating because I love explaining the mystical or the spiritual and the practical. I like blending it together. And so they actually took me back to like science and thinking about, we go from matter to a gas. And I was like, oh, that's perfect. That's a great way, because energy can never be destroyed. Can never, never, never. So yeah.
Right.
Super
And so
fascinating.
I
That just came
normally,
up in the
and I
last week.
say it again.
That just came up in the last week. So it's fascinating that you brought that through, of course.
And I always ask, so what's your dad's name?
Oh, Douglas.
So I'm
Douglas
always like, hey,
Wendell.
Doug.
Yeah.
You know,
I
I don't
named my
know that I
baby
have
after him.
What?
I named my baby after him, my son. He's got his middle name. So sweet.
How old is your son?
Oh, he'll be 2 in November.
Oh my
He's a little
goodness.
ham bone.
Is that your only son, or your only child right now?
Yes, it is my only child. And he actually has my dad's color hair, and none of the other grandkids do. So I was like, oh, Dad, you put in your sprinkle. That's so sweet. Right?
I love it. I love it. And so I'm sure Doug is here today too. So, and I'd love to have more conversation about the medium side. I know that I want to talk about the coaching and all that as well. But I know that like when I work with clients and we're dealing with the fact that, you know, joy and grief live on the same, they're first cousins. They're first cousins, because you wouldn't have so much grief and sadness if you didn't have that much love and joy on the You wouldn't really care.
Absolutely.
It would be like, whatever. And I'm always like, so what, you know, what's their, you know, what's your father's name? What's your mother's name? What's your child's name? And when you have that relationship, and I'm sure you experience personally and with your clients, like, it's amazing because it changes the perspective. Like, nobody's gone. They're actually, I always talk to my dad. His name's Marty. And I'm always like, okay, you have a way better view than I do. You have the drone view, right? You have the aerial view. You can see things and understand things that I can't see from where I stand. Absolutely. And if I don't know what to do, I'm always like, Dad,
100%.
Whatever, make it happen.
Absolutely. Love it.
So, okay. So anyway, enough about Doug. Sorry, but he took center stage right there.
Okay.
So, okay. So you help people align with their soul.
Yes, essentially. And it's, like I said, it's really aligning with that higher power, allowing inspiration and truth to come through for people. So I'll give you an example. So many people think A plus B equals C. This person is doing this in business, so that means if I do it too, this is what I'll get. But really, we all have our own flow and our own way. And what's really coming on board right now on Earth is this new paradigm, going from force, push, struggle, strive, exhaustion, into a more feminine, receptive, allowing, expanding, that kind of thing. And it's happening more and more, and we're craving more freedom, and we're craving time freedom and emotional freedom and financial freedom, so we can do things that we love doing. And what we talked about before, and I don't think that was on the live part of it, but it's doing things that we need to do to fill our soul. And I'll give you an example. So I was really called last Friday, about a week ago, and I've been hearing it for about a year and a half, to go to the beach, go to the beach, go to the beach. So I did, and I take my son there, and et cetera, but it never filled me. It never filled me as much as it would be going myself. So I went by myself, and I had 6 hours to myself, the first time in 2 years, because I had a baby and COVID, right? So you don't get to do the usual, you don't have the usual supports, don't get to do the usual things. And I got to tell you, when we listen to those deeper yearnings within us, because we know the way, like we are guided all the time. And it's getting our ego out of the way, putting our mind aside, and actually taking those aligned action steps that will propel you forward. And the reason why I'm sharing this is because I had been sitting on tasks that I had been guided to do, but for like 44 weeks, I was just like, I'll get to them when, but I just didn't have the energy to do it. I didn't have
the inspiration.
Yes, I didn't have anything left to give. And I know to always follow the inspiration, wait till it comes. So then you're not forcing and pushing, right? And I got to tell you, I came back from those 6 hours with only the intention of going because I needed this alone time. And I came back, and on Saturday and Sunday, I wrote 2 sales pages. I wrote welcome email sequences. I did a whole bunch of crazy stuff that should have taken me a month to do in 3 days. And it flew through me. Like, it's so wild. And that's part of what I teach, is really filling yourself, coming from the deep, nourished place from within. So then we can serve from that space. We can show up to life in that space. Because part of the old paradigm of the push, force, struggle, strive is also lack and scarcity. And that's why we think that we have to do those things in order to, like, we have to work really hard in order to get what we want. But that's not what's true. So it's just dropping into the allowing and the flow and the so gorgeous.
I'm always like, if it seems easy and fun, do it.
100%. Absolutely. And it's really fascinating how we're being called for more play and more freedom and more fun because we need it. I literally wrote down from a coaching session that I had with somebody about an hour before we hopped on here, is alone time equals new inspiration, and the freedom, the alignment, the recalibration to then come back whole. Does that make sense?
Yes, for sure. And one of the things that I even found for myself, I've been a serial entrepreneur. I've been a serial solopreneur my entire life. Like my brother-in-law just asked me, have you ever worked in an office in your life? And I'm like,
Ooh,
never.
I love that.
Never. Like, I've never sat in a cubicle. I've never sat in an office, never done any of that kind of work. It's always been creating as a brand architect, startups, and that kind of thing. But one of the things is really challenging too, like, especially as a business coach, what I find with people who are entrepreneurs is recognizing that it's okay to play. Like, that's why you're doing what you're doing. So you don't have a 9 to 5. So you don't have to sit there and answer to someone else. But I was finding myself having to sit at a desk and having to get things done until I recognized there's an art of being a solopreneur. There's an art of being independent. There's an art of being a business owner. And you can, like, right now, I happen to be set up, with my screen. But the truth of the matter is, if I was at the beach right now, like, I would be, live from the beach.
100%. Yeah.
So it's finding that balance and play. And we tend to, and Corey, I'm sure that you get this too, especially, with the coaching that you do, is if it's too easy and it's too fun, we put that on hold. Like, we tend to say, well, I can't do that right now because that seems too fun for me, or too playful, or too easy. So we put what's really important from a frequency, energetic standpoint, the vibration that makes the change, we put that to the side.
Yes. And that is the very thing that will propel you. Sorry, Corey. That's the very thing that will propel you to next level.
Yes. So I love that you help people connect to that, because that's where the magic happens.
100%.
That's where the change happens. That's where global change happens.
Yes. And Spirit gave me a great analogy the other day. And it's like, if you think about it, kids laugh 70 times a day or something. And the study is like adults laugh 5 times a day. Well, it's because they freaking play and they allow themselves the freedom and the joy, right? We got to bring that back in so then we can come from a nourished, fulfilled space. So then we can move forward. Absolutely. And part of it.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interject. I was waiting to see. I wanted to try to jump in between, but I'll let you keep going. Sorry, Lisa.
No, go. You go. I'll chat after.
I was just going to add in that I think the other thing, because I'll be the devil's advocate a little bit, is I feel like it's a guilt thing. Like, we feel guilty if we're playing as an entrepreneur, but at the very same time, we're almost taught to feel guilty if our work is our play. So you hear all these people say, well, he's a workaholic and, he never has any fun. But, like, give you an example, 2 examples actually really quick. One is I heard David Foster being interviewed by Darren Hardy with Success Magazine one time. And Darren said to David, what's your play or whatever? And David Foster said, I feel guilty because everybody's like, you don't go to the beach, you don't do this. And he was like almost feeling guilty that he works so much. And Darren said, well, what lights up your world? And he said, well, when I'm in the studio with Celine Dion and we just cut this track and blah, blah, blah. And Darren said, that's the thing. Your studio is your beach. Stop feeling guilty. You are on vacation.
Yes.
You are doing what you love.
Yes.
And then it made me think
Absolutely.
of Seth Godin talking. I don't know if you ever heard the Seth Godin quote, but he shared this story.
Isn't it the magic cow, or doesn't he have that book?
He has the purple cow.
The
but
purple cow.
But the quote he said he was at a beach one time and he's working on his laptop and it's like Monday morning and he's, checking his blog. He posted his blog every day and he's on the beach posting his blog each day. But he wasn't on vacation. He just went to the beach. He just went there for a month to work. And he heard this couple walk by and he said, oh, that poor fella. He comes on his 2 weeks vacation and all he does is work. And he responded in his head, that poor couple, they wait for 2 weeks a year to actually finally take a vacation. Why don't you set up a life that you don't have to escape from? Was his response. He didn't say
I'm in Maine right now in my RV traveling at the beach. I'm going on an oyster tour because I met these oyster farmers and I want to oyster farm at our retreat. So we're doing this at a brewery. I met them because I took my e-bike to get fit, and I'm still working. People are like, oh, were you going away? I'm like, there's no away for me. I'm home. My office is with me, my home is with me, my play is with me. And I've been working remotely with my clients for years, way before the pandemic, because I need to walk my talk as a coach. I need to walk my talk as a speaker. I need to live the life that I am teaching and helping other individuals create for themselves.
100%.
And so I'm really inspired by you, Lisa, where you're like, oh, I came down and I had the download and I wrote the program and I wrote all that. I had spent so much time feeling guilty or badly, or looking at myself going what's going on? Why don't I have these programs out there? Because that's not my jam. But when the retreat came and I was able to create a destination for people to have experiential experiences themselves and live that fun and live that joy and find that those perspective shifts in real time, that's where things started growing. So it's about finding what works for you.
Yes, on all levels. It's following your freaking heart. That's all you need to do.
Say that again. It's
following your freaking heart. That's all you need to do. But that's it. That's it. That is it. We have our musings, we have our desires, we have all of those things in us because they are for us. Literally, we wouldn't be given the visions, we wouldn't be given the desires, we wouldn't be given those things if we weren't meant to have them. And we've been taught, especially growing up in a North American society, that work, or it has to be harder. You have to work long hours, or you can only get Fridays or Saturdays and Sundays off. And then, you have to sacrifice this to get this, where it's just not true. It's just a belief that we bought into from what we're taught and what was passed down as children of, we have to put other people first, always. You always have to put other people first. You come last, your needs don't matter, whatever it is. Especially for women, we're expected to take care of all these people and juggle 10 million things, where really, if, the airlines have it perfectly correct, if we don't fill our oxygen, we need our oxygen mask. You have to do that first, and then everything gets to explode. I never would have thought that my life would be the way that it is, but it is because you follow your soul, you follow your heart.
And what are your thoughts around balance then, Lisa? And again, didn't mean to interject. I always try to read whenever the conversation is ended, but they sometimes overlap. But
you sure you didn't have that gas at the dentist?
Yeah, maybe that's what it was.
Well,
but
you're normally so on point.
Well, who knows, right? I might be off a little tick, probably. One thing you said makes me think of Lisa Nichols, about the putting the mask on first. And I said to her about the idea of having your cup full. And she said, Corey, you're not ready. At least you've heard me share this before. But Corey, you're not ready to fill your cup when it's full, because then you're depleting your cup again. It's only full. You need to have your cup overflowing into a saucer before you start filling to somebody else, because you can't, if you're only at 100% and you start giving, You're now less than 100. Well, you want to stay at 100, so it should be overflowing. But what I was going to ask you about, both of you actually, your thoughts around this idea of, we always say, how do you get balance? And to me, I'll say first, as an entrepreneur, to me, balance is whenever, what Elise said, you love what you do so much, you don't actually say, I'm stopping working and I'm starting life, or I'm stopping life and I'm starting working. To me, that's balance, because I don't think we're ever going to get 50-50. I did 50% of my work. Now I'll start my 50% of my fun time. What are your guys' thoughts around balance? I think it's different for an entrepreneur, perhaps, than a traditional employee that goes 9 to 5. But what are your thoughts around balance? Like, do you think there is such a thing as balance, or do you think balance is overlapping in the fact that you love what you do at all times?
So what I think balance is, and actually I've just created this thing called productivity from soul, because it's balance. And it's funny that you say that, because I was going to talk about balance before, and then I kind of got off topic and forgot. But what truly balance is you need to figure out what is important to you in all life areas, on all the little family, friends, social, like, it doesn't matter what it is, but if it's important to you, then those are your little nuggets that you then got to all fit in and fill up. So then it's not just, even if you do work you love. For myself, I've chosen to only work part-time and create a great income, so then I can spend time with my family, so then I can travel, so then I can speak wherever I want to and do all the things and serve all my people from a laptop lifestyle. That's my choice, because that is something I truly desire in my heart. And so I don't feel like it is an A plus B equals C linear thing. I feel like it is whatever is right for you. Figure out all the things that are important for you. And then literally what I do is time block it. I time block it, and I'm like, okay, I'm allowing this for this. This is for this. This is for this. So then things don't go by the wayside, because it's really easy to all of a sudden let things slide. It's really building that foundational alignment practice of, these are things that I want. I'm going to have this into my schedule or figure it out this way, because that is what I need to do to keep on track. That's what I feel like balance is for me.
Right. And so I'll infuse what balance is for me, and then we'll have 3 different perspectives. So I'm going to make a food analogy. So the umbrella brand, because I'm all about creating these brands, is called Yum Life. YUMLIFE. And that's finding the umami of your own life, right? That sweet spot, that balance. So I see everybody as being their own signature dish.
Yes.
Right. So as opposed to me, I like stews, I like soups when things marry together and the flavors all come out. So for me, as opposed to blocking time out, I'm a big intention setter. Like, if I can get really clear, I call it, if it could fit on a bumper sticker, then I've actually gotten to the root, like to that, like the sauce of it, right? So once I figure that out, I can tap into the source, and I let the universe take over the rest. And what I do is I follow the inspired thought, and I just take action. I don't talk about it. I don't question how crazy it sounds. I take action. I take inspired action. And to me, those are the steps. That's the universe guiding me, as crazy as it might seem, to how things come together. And they might not come together right away. Like, I've been working on these smart communities, the future of innovative neighborhoods, for years, way before all of, my whole mindset architect life coaching. And now it's all coming to fruition in a crazy way that I would have never anticipated, starting and buying an old motel and turning it into an everyday retreat and using it as this foundation, and recognizing that's where I am contributing. That's my purpose, is to create experience, places where people can have experiences. So everybody has their different alignment. And it's following that gut cue.
It's following the inspired action. Yes.
And it seems too fun, and it seems too easy, right? Like, this is like what I hear. Yeah, but I can't do that yet because it's too fun. Eat your dessert
because
first.
We've been conditioned.
Dessert first.
Yes.
Right. And if you can look at the fun stuff, going to the beach and, just like going off on a whim and doing something that's not in that plan that you have, that's your dessert first. And that's where the magic happens. That's where things start to show up from nothing.
Yes.
And that's for me. That's where I find my balance. And there's conflict. There's internal conflict because it's not really the way it's supposed to be as this. And I interview a lot of people. I meet a lot of amazing thought leaders who do it a very specific way. Corey, you know this. When I came to San Diego, I was having such a challenge because my fiance was like, do you want to like practice your your talk with me? And I've been speaking and running clubs and support groups forever. And I'm an improv speaker. Like I get up and I improv, and I had such anxiety thinking that I had to like have this talk I don't know, written and know what I was doing. And when I let that go, Corey can tell you, like I knew my content, I had my intention, and I got up there and I nailed it, but I had nothing written. I didn't practice anything. And that's where I did my best. So
yes, because that's following your flow. That's following your own flow, which is all we just need to do. It's not a cookie cutter.
But don't you find that sometimes we compare ourselves? I'm like, there's going to be all these other speakers up there. Usually I'm running my own show, but I wasn't on stage with all these other speakers before. And I'm like, but they're doing it this way. And now I have to. And it just didn't feel right. It was awful. I'm like, I'm not doing this. And then I was like, forget it. I'm just going to do it my way.
And that's all you need to do. That is 100% what keep people stuck is like, oh, this person made $1 million, so I have to do it this way. And then it doesn't work. Well, because they're not following Spirit is downloading a book to me right now. And it's a success code is what it's called. And it's Success from Soul. And it is be, do, have, right? Like it's being yourself is all you need to do. And what's wild is when I coach people, they don't remember often what it's like to be themselves because they've overgiven themselves so much to other people. They're tapped themselves dry. They don't even know things that they enjoy or like doing anymore. Right. So it's
exactly spending so much time trying to get rid of what they don't want that. Yes. Flip your script. That's why I created these bands, because people were like, my clients were so focused on what they didn't want. When I asked them what they did want, they kept telling me what wasn't working. And I'm like, I'm not asking you what's not working. I'm asking you what you want. Like and it was so hard. So I wanted to create a reminder that just flip your script. If you keep talking about what you don't want, at least stop for a second. Gorgeous. And start thinking about what you do want.
Gorgeous.
So when you work with clients, there's two big questions. My one question is, did you have an aha flip your script moment, like where your belief and your perspective shifted from all of this trauma that you were going through and all of this stuff that was happening?
100%. Everything in my life was stripped from me. I went through the proverbial dark night of the soul, but I knew that it was for me. Do you know what I mean? But that was the turning point. It was like, excuse me. It was like, I was always intuitive as a kid. I didn't know what it was. It freaked me out, blah, blah, blah. I went through all this tragedy. Everything was stripped from my life, but it was stripped so then it could come from a foundational place of me being me, in alignment, not being apologizing anymore, showing up, doing me, doesn't matter what other people say, and being in alignment with myself, with my truth, with knowing that, taking what I'd been through, and instead of wallowing in it or replaying it or focusing on what I don't want, because then a practical law of the universe is what you focus on comes to you, right?
Whether you want it or not.
Whether you want it or not, we're creating all the time, whether we know we are or not. And we can tell the quality of our thoughts by what is showing up in our life.
That's why I so appreciate that you show up in my life, because you're a message that we're on the right path, Corey. That's how I see it. I'm like, every time I meet somebody amazing, I'm like, okay, I'm just going to keep following.
And I just got goosebumps as confirmation. So there you go.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I'm in the agreement and on the same page in terms of that idea that we and still around that same theme, we beat ourselves up trying to be somebody else or what somebody else did, or like we said, this is the way they did it, so we have to do it. Like you said, here's how we make $1 million, so I have to do it too. And it makes me think of two of my things that I did over the years. One, for instance, when I launched my podcast, what I did was I actually had a newspaper previous to that, and I brought a lot of those clients over to be sponsors on our show. And so the first month before we had any listeners at all, we brought in around $25,000 in sponsorship. And, and that's for a podcast. Not a lot of podcasts make money. So to already be at that level before you're even getting listeners, I thought was pretty cool. And I was telling people that were saying, oh, I need to monetize my podcast soon and all this. And they said, and I told them how I did it. They just say, how did you do that? And I told them that basically, look, I offer packages like $300 for 2 months, but you don't just get a spot in the show and a mention on the show. We're also going to do this, this, and this. Like I'm going to promote you live. I'm going to promote you on Facebook. Back then you could put links on the things. So we're going to put your website on and all that. And I had people say to me, you can't do it that way. That's not how John Lee Dumas teaches it from Entrepreneurs on Fire. And so then I got an interview with John, and he said, I heard you monetized your podcast early. How'd you do it? I told him, he goes, dude, that's brilliant. I love that.
Yes.
And I said, people told me I'm not doing it the John Lee Dumas way, so I'm not supposed to do it that way. He goes, who made that rule up? I didn't read that book. So, but the funny part is everybody, because John was the first guy to basically, that people knew of, to turn a podcast into $1 million business within a year. Everybody said, you got to do it the John Lee Dumas way or not at all. And here's what happened. The end result of that, and I had Kate not that long ago, which is his partner, and brought this up, is that's all people, when we started, they were all trying to cut up John Lee Dumas' podcast. So even their interview style, like John asked 12 questions, and he would say, let's give us, like Elise says, the mind seats. He'd say, let's give us some value bombs. So then people started saying, what's your knowledge nuggets? They just changed the wording, but they were still being John Lee Dumas light. And guess what happened? 2 and 3 months later, all those shows dropped off and disappeared.
Right.
But he was doing it the wrong way, 11 years later, still as a podcast. And
it was his way. It was his unique, authentic way.
His genius.
It was his way of doing it. And I found a different way, and both worked, and neither one was wrong. But it's funny, it's the point of what you guys are both mentioning. It was funny how many people right away said to me, well, you're not supposed to do it that way. And then to finish that off, when I started speaking and I was getting paid early on, I had other speakers say to me, oh, you're not supposed to be getting paid this early. Do you want me to go and give the money back? I don't understand what you're saying here. But they're like, well, you're not supposed to. And I said, well, show me the rule book. Show me the rule book that says that, and I'll give the money back. They're like, well, I just mean you're not supposed to be able to do it. But why? Who wrote those rules? So the point is, I think too often.
So it's right in your soul. So that's where the whole soul-tastic, or I just use the term but the
I love it.
Connecting with your soul comes in, because it's your soul way. Really, it's your soul way.
Yes, it's your unique.
I like that too. Your
genius.
Like
actually, Marnie said, what a soultastic interview. Just that, so the word is already catching on, just so you know.
Thanks, Marnie. Listen, we'll just, put that in the whole coin the word, I'll just brand y'all. Come on over. You need your term, your whatever. What do they call it? Your coin,
slogan?
Your whatever.
Logo, slogan, tagline.
Your slogan,
yeah, but I
whatever.
think you're soultastic anyway, Lisa. So there you go.
Oh, thank you. Well, funny that you say that, because soul aligned success strategy came to me in a download. Like, it's not something that was forced. It came through, and then it exploded. It took off like crazy. Of course it is, because we get the idea, which is what the inspired action is, and then we move forward. And here's the thing. It's not that we're not scared. We're scared. We have fear, but we do it anyhow.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yeah, that's a great quote. Feel the fear and do it anyway. And
yeah.
I want to put this up too. Marnie is saying that she wants to, once we share how people can connect with you, she wants to be able to connect with you possibly for a reading. So I just want to put that out there. It's just so we don't.
I want one. I want one too.
Yay! Oh my gosh. Yeah, that'd be so fun. I love it. It's so wild, because when you work with spirit, you get results so quick. And that's what's different from my coaching to other coaching, is we really let spirit lead the way, because I love that you talked about intentions before, at least, because everything I do is from intention. And I did big intentions before, we came on this show, and we always set the intention for the highest good, greatest interest, most amount of healing, and that it really truly is authentic and genuine and full of integrity. And
I love the word integrity. Integrity, big word. Big word.
Huge.
Awesome. So where can we find you?
Oh, awesome. So on my website, www.lisastamper.com, it's literally like a stamp, er.com. I'm also on Facebook. I have a Facebook page. I can give you all my credentials if you want. I'm on Instagram, all the usual places.
You'll see. I think you got some friend requests from me. I liked you. I followed you.
Oh, I love
so
it. I love
we're
it.
connected
Yay.
now.
Love it. Love it.
And if you can put that in the comments too. I know, Corey, you've shared this interview, you share the live with all over the place, but I know for sure for the bLU Talks Flip Your Script group, it would be great if you can put it in the comments there, how people can find you, because they do, people come back, they watch the replay, and I know that they're going to want to reach out to you and be able to tap into some of their soultastic ways of being as well.
Gorgeous. I would be honored. I'd be honored. And that's one of the things that I just wanted to say, that, your past doesn't have to define you. Like I said, I beat the odds. It shouldn't have been possible. Like kind of what Corey was talking about. That can't be done that way. Right. But I'd love and be honored to show you how.
Yes. I'm going to be reaching out for sure.
Yay. I'm excited.
Yes, I'm always down for a reading. I'm good. I'm like easy and effortless. Like that is my theme.
Absolutely. Love it. Love it.
Yes. Any insight I can get from places that I don't even know exist, I'm in.
Right? So wild.
So I know
Maybe we can do it live.
Oh my
Are you
gosh.
open
I
to
do
that?
it live all the time for people. I'd love to do it live. Let's do one.
I'm going to bring you on a Flip Your Script Friday.
Yes, please.
And maybe
Oh,
we
I'd
could
be
do like
honored.
a live reading. And then we could do like a tapping session. You could pick something we can clear, and we could do this interactive thing.
I'm in. Let's do it. 100 billion times in.
All right. That's awesome. Corey, you can pop in if you want, or you could just watch from the sidelines.
Yeah, I'll figure it out. We'll circle back and I'll figure out which way we do it.
I even do it for big groups. It's wild.
Oh, that's cool. Well,
Yeah.
And I was going to say, Elise, you always I know we have our next guest backstage, but we still have a couple of minutes. So Elise, I didn't know if you want to ask about the mind seed question you always ask.
Well, I mean, I feel like I got them. From what I pulled is follow your heart. I mean, that's a good mind seed. But so I do ask our guests. So so I believe that we have these mind seeds and thought weeds. The thought weeds are these weeds that take up all the space and keep us from growing the life that we love and love ourselves in. And then we have these mind seeds that if we could focus more on those as we're flipping our script and plant these seeds of perspective and intention, what would do you have a seed of a perspective or intention, as I call it, that if one plants it in their mind?
I love that. And I also love your analogy, like the seeds and the weeds. I love that. So thank you. I'm actually going to adopt that and use that to help people, if you don't mind. I love that.
Absolutely.
So I will absolutely give you credit, because I also think that that's important too. But being your authentic self, not caring what other people say, but really truly embodying all that it means to be you is the key. That is the key. It is the key to all the things, to the success, to the happiness, to the money, to the love, to everything. And that doesn't mean that things won't come up, because of course we're going to brush up against like limiting beliefs and some weeds that will come up as we step into our light and our remembrance and our knowledge. But that's okay. That's why you can have different supports to help to guide you through that. But really, it's just
call Lisa. She seems like a great support.
Oh, I love you. Thank you.
For sure.
But it's really just be yourself.
It's true. But you know what? So here's a tip that I'm going to give you all, like how to know, like if you're stepping into your authentic self. I call it free falling into the land of WTF. When you feel like you're going to jump off a cliff into the land of WTF, you're probably stepping into your authentic self.
Yes. And do you know what's so wild for me?
I didn't say the F word, Corey.
Oh, I love it. Oh, but see, I also swear a lot, so I'd be okay with that.
I do too, but now I'm respecting our platform.
Love it. Love it. Okay. Love it. It was funny because I kind of felt into that a little bit, and I was like, no, this isn't quite the place. But one of the things is that what I really feel the biggest breakthroughs for people come where they're like, I can't.
Free falling into the land of WTF. Just jump.
Just jump. Just freaking jump. Just jump. I got goosebumps everywhere just saying that. And
it's true. Like a lot of clients, and I'm sure you guys both see the same thing, like, especially when I'm working with chronic pain, clients who are just in chronic pain, and we're getting to the root of like what's happening. And they have a relationship to this pain. There's something that if they let go of it, then they're going to lose something else that they don't even know that they have. And they're holding on. Maybe their relationship with, I had this one, I'm just going to be really quick because I know we have to go, but I had this one client and she had MS. And when she got MS, the relationship with her husband got way better. He used to travel. He used to be there. She was on her own. But when she got MS, he stayed home more. They spent more time together. And she even said it to me. She goes, like, actually, I don't even want to get rid of it because I like the relationship I have better with my husband now. We work through it. But I mean, that's key. So think about that too, you guys. Like, what are you holding? What is the connection that you think you're going to lose if you let go of what's uncomfortable and really you're managing the crap in your life?
Because so many people get comfortable with their discomfort because it's what they know. They're scared to take the leap.
Or there's a connection. Did something get better in your life? The crappier
I
you
love
feel,
that. Mm-hmm.
You know, and I mean, it's interesting to see what keeps us connected to some of this crap.
Brilliant.
Love it.
So on
Well,
that note,
Lisa, this has been an absolute pleasure. I knew it would be.
Thank
And
you.
I want to call it, I mean, this is my normal thing, but it is truthful, is I want to call it a to be continued. Lisa's already started to make arrangements to make sure it's a to be continued in general.
yeah, for sure. We're
Yeah,
doing
I mean, I can leave you two to circle back and coordinate stuff on the outside in, but I definitely want to bring you back on, Lisa, whether it's for this or one of my other platforms. So, I mean, I love your energy. I love what you're doing. I love what you're teaching. And I love that you and Elise just took the what do they say, the horn and ran with it, you know, while I'm dealing with my apparently being gassed up at the dentist that I don't run. So,
You look like you're feeling better.
yeah, I feel like I am. I totally do. So, yeah, but thank you for both running with it. This has been fantastic. And we'll let you run, Lisa, so we can bring our next guest on. But again, I just want to thank you so much for joining us today. And I'm excited to see all the things that come from this. And just so you know, Elise, Lisa does do readings and share them inside the Blue Talks author group. So I don't know if you're inside the author group yet, even though you're going to be an upcoming author. So we need to get you in.
I am.